The Milwaukee Bucks are actually eliminated from the playoffs, and it isn't even the Eastern Conference Finals yet. My goodness, the bubble is something different. What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Young Mustard, and we are back with another video. Today, we are going to talk about what the future holds for Giannis Antetokounmpo in the next upcoming year. Because for those who do not know, he is basically now on his contract year. He has one more year left in his contract, and depending on what happens with the Milwaukee Bucks in the next coming year, who knows where Giannis is going to end up, if he decides to stay or if he decides to leave. But before we get started with that, make sure you guys follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. The links for both of those accounts are in the description box down below. Y'all make sure you do that after watching this video. But without further ado, let's get back to the current reigning league MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. When Giannis was coming up in the NBA and after he won Most Improved Player, we all saw the writing on the wall that he was going to be an instant superstar in the making. And when he won the MVP last year, we all kind of looked at it like, damn, like this guy actually made it, like he's actually here. But now we are here in his second MVP reign, in which I believe he's going to win the MVP, and he's not even going to be in the playoffs at the time that he receives the award. Man, that is so tough. This guy is literally going to be sitting in his living room accepting his MVP award in his couch because he's not in the playoffs. I imagine what his facial expressions are going to be. Giannis is probably going to be frowning angry the entire time. Kind of reminds me of Dirk when he had to accept his MVP after losing to an 8th seed. But it's not that bad. I'm not gonna say it's as bad as that, but you guys get my point there. But as it pertains to his free agency, this is going to be something that contributes to if he wants to stay or leave. Because though people may think Giannis is going to stay because he said that, we have to understand that NBA players and teams should not possess true loyalty to each other, because at the end of the day, the league is a business and players need to win. And when you have conflicting interests, it can lead to departures such as LeBron leaving Cleveland for Miami, LaMarcus Aldridge leaving Portland for San Antonio, Kyrie Irving leaving Boston in free agency for Brooklyn this past offseason, or Kevin Durant leaving Oklahoma City to go join the Golden State Warriors and then leaving them to join Kyrie in Brooklyn. All of those players said in the previous offseason they were going to stay with their current teams at the time, and just 1 year later, they changed their minds and left to a different organization. We've seen it done numerous times in the past, so being a small market team, taking a player at their word should not be something that you do. I'm sorry, you just should not take any players at their word, because at the end of the day, they're just trying to save face. Unless they're really angry at the organization, why would they just come out and say, yeah, I'm about to leave, I don't feel like staying here? Of course they're going to back the organization. You don't want to cause beef in the locker rooms. It would be a very awkward atmosphere if Giannis was just to say, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to come back here though, I'm sorry. But as it pertains to where Giannis is going to end up after 2021, I honestly think there are a plethora of candidates. For starters, you have the Toronto Raptors, who have that Nigerian connection between Masai and Giannis, if there really is one, because that's just what I've been hearing. And also you have the fact that Kyle Lowry will be coming off of the books after the 2021 season, so you could work around his contract. They're probably going to re-sign him. I doubt they're going to let him just leave in free agency. He's really the heart and soul of that team. Marc Gasol's contract just ended after this season, so maybe they'll re-sign him to a lesser deal, who knows. And then they also have Serge Ibaka, OG Anunoby. They have a really good team to put around a superstar. The problem is they just don't have one. As good as Pascal Siakam was this season, and I definitely think he deserved an all-star selection, he's just not a superstar. He can't be a number one on a team. His handles are too sloppy to create against legit defenders, and he only has one go-to move, which is his spin. He's too limited offensively, and he was way better as a second option with Kawhi. And if you remember when I talked about the Raptors in the playoffs last year, I said Siakam was a little bit inconsistent, and that was when he was a second option. This year, he was horrendous offensively, not just against the Celtics, but even at times against the Brooklyn Nets. It was really obvious that Siakam just can't be a go-to guy on a team that has legitimate championship aspirations, which is where Giannis steps in. Him surrounded with players like Kyle Lowry who can space the floor as well as OG Anunoby. Siakam is a decent shooter, and depending on what they do with Gasol, maybe they could run something similar to what Milwaukee did with Giannis and Lopez, because that was pretty effective obviously, and if not, maybe they'll do it with Ibaka. They'll have a really good defensive front court. They'll have a great defensive team. They'll have the best defensive team in the league if Giannis decides to go to Toronto. It really just depends if Giannis is trying to make that trip to change locations to another country, because we all know the history of Toronto losing their stars. So if that's the case, let's talk about another candidate that's a little bit more likely, and that is the Miami Heat. Now obviously the Bucks did just lose to the Heat, but let's just think about something for a second. They have shooters everywhere such as Goran Dragic, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, also Kendrick Nunn, Kelly Olynyk, Myers Leonard. They just got snipers at every single corner. And then when you factor in what they would do defensively, they would literally terrorize every single team in the NBA with Giannis, Jimmy, and Bam Adebayo as their three-headed snake apparently on that side of the ball. And then you throw in guys like Iggy, Jay Crowder. It really just gets treacherous how that defense would be so terrorizing. But then you factor in other things, such as Giannis losing to them this year and him portraying himself as this guy that's never gonna jump ship to form this super team. And considering that we don't know what's going to happen next year, and hopefully they don't face the Heat again, then yeah, the question's really up in the air. It really just depends on what happens in the next upcoming season. Maybe the Bucks make the finals and lose, and Giannis says, hell, I can go to Miami now. And hell, if Miami wins this year, I really wonder what the reaction would be if Giannis joined them after that, because KD joins Golden State after they win only one championship, and sure, they made back-to-back finals, but regardless, they only won one title, and Miami would be doing the same thing if they win this season and Giannis goes to join them in 2021. So yeah, this is a very interesting team, and this scenario is kind of dependent on what happens not just this playoffs, but also next year in the postseason. But hold on, the Giannis sweepstakes are not over, because there is a final team that I would like to talk about, and of course, it is the Golden State Warriors. Now, I'm not even going to spend too much time addressing this. We all know the Warriors are in prime position to pick up any disgruntled talent, whether they demand a trade or want to leave in free agency, because considering the fact that the Warriors were complete ass this past season, they had the second overall pick given to them in this recent draft lottery. And if that's the case, then that means the Warriors have all the assets to be able to put themselves in position to pick up anybody in the league, whether it's a disgruntled talent with a trade or signing somebody in free agency. Now, I can't imagine Giannis and Draymond really being on the same court at the same time, because they don't really mesh well in their play styles. And if you get Giannis, Draymond's biggest contributions, which are his efforts on the defensive end, are kind of going to be less of an impact on that team, because Giannis does everything Draymond does on that side of the ball way better. So if that's the case, then maybe they're going to have to trade Draymond. But as long as they get Giannis and keep Steph and Clay, that trio will literally be dominant over the NBA for years to come, because I still believe that Steph has at least a good 2 to 3 elite more years on his career, because he is a smaller guard, so they do tend to age a little bit faster, and he has had some injuries on his body. Unless injuries come into play, I don't see anybody beating this Warriors team if Giannis goes to join them in Golden State. But now that I have talked about the 3 biggest candidates, let me say this to the Milwaukee Bucks fans: be prepared to lose him, because unless you guys make a trade to go get another guy to pair with Giannis that's a legitimate second option, not Chris Middleton, because we all know he just can't be that on a team that's trying to win an NBA championship, then I just don't see him staying with that organization. And considering that the 2021 draft class ranges from players like LeBron James to Rudy Gobert to Mike Conley, Gordon Hayward, Kawhi Leonard, the list just goes on, and obviously Giannis Antetokounmpo is among them. So if that's the case, then that means teams are probably going to be prepared to clear out their cap to be able to sign some of these players to make moves to better their franchises. And the Milwaukee Bucks are going to have to compete with some competition because the entire NBA, it seems like, wants Giannis Antetokounmpo on their roster. So let the Giannis sweepstakes begin, I guess. But that concludes this video, you guys. Let me know your opinions down below in the comment section. Also drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and if you like what you see from the channel, hit that subscribe button and push that bell for post notifications. Check out the links in the description box as well as my social media accounts. Y'all have a great day. This is your boy Young Mustard signing out. Peace.